How to take revenge on a narcissist. The given wisdom to date is you should never seek to take revenge on a narcissist. It's immoral, makes you just as bad as them, and could invite some dread consequence. So I'm going to teach you 2 tips for taking revenge on a narcissist. The first tip that I would offer you will function more, I suppose, as a strategy than as an actual technique. The overall strategy that I would offer you, which is probably, one of the most powerful pieces of advice I could give you, is to engage actively in a reframe. A reframe simply means that if you change the context of the content of something that you are saying or thinking or doing and give it a new spin, as it were, then it changes what the meaning of the content is. Get out of the mindset of yourself as victim and the other person as the perpetrator, the criminal. Get out of the mindset of the prey and the other person as the predator, and reverse it on them. So that's the first tip I would offer you. Take yourself from prey to predator and start thinking about the other person's vulnerabilities, what they're insecure about, what they feel anxious about, and deliberately provoke them. One of the things that I would recommend as a tip, figure out what your objective is. Same thing with taking revenge on a narcissist. You need to decide what the spectrum is and what your objectives are. There are different contexts in which revenge could take place. The revenge you could be seeking could be to actually cause the narcissist to have a public meltdown or explosion that exposes them for who they really are. Your objective might be just to prove that the other person is a narcissist. They are actually narcissistically personality disordered. They're in the cluster B. They have more than 5 of the 9 traits of narcissism, and they are probably diagnosable as malignant NPD by a qualified clinician. So if they actually are narcissists in the true sense of NPD, then the techniques that are outlined in the book, How to Take Revenge on a Narcissist, and outlined in the audio tutorial that goes with it, they will work. If they are not truly personality disordered, if they're not on the cluster B scale for personality disorder, the techniques we offer won't work. A second technique, the second sort of tool that you can use. Any kind of denial of the narcissists will cause narcissistic injury and a great deal of anger and distress and a good deal of stirring up of emotion. I'll give you one more tip. Because I'm generous like that and I'm a people pleaser, I engage in boundaryless giving. Sometimes it doesn't even require a direct opposition of the individual's self-perception. It doesn't even require that you actually say, no, you're not special. Narcissists' needs, what they need and what they require is not special. They get vindictive, they get snappy. Just because you're not giving them the special ego strokey that they need. It's useful sometimes to look at modern politics and narcissistic abuse strategies. But one thing I've noticed is that the narcissistic personality, just like a political party, has an agenda. You need to understand which social rules must be obeyed and which you can sometimes ignore. So there is a degree of propagandizing that goes on there. There is a political party line to be towed with a narcissist. And sometimes the injunctions are overt. They'll tell you what they want or they'll heavily imply it. And sometimes the worst injunctions just have to be figured out. And it's almost like you figure out where the mines are in the minefield by stepping on them. Thinking of them in a political sort of mindset can be really helpful. And you'll notice that they propagandize themselves all the time. They're like little propaganda machines. We are consenting to that. We're consenting to that dance. I am beautiful. I am special. I am unique. You need me. Oh, look at you. You're so addicted to me. All of that is projection. But the sad thing is, it's not conscious consent, it's a fostered consent, it's a hypnotized, brainwashed consent that comes in via the back door. Dark magic, the black magic, the glamour that they've laid on you. Glamour, by the way, is an old English term for magic. It's a black magic practice. You can lay a glamour on somebody. So when you talk about somebody being glamorous, it's a love spell. It's the idea that you see my image, my narcissistically created mask, not the real me. At this end of the spectrum where we go from narcissism to antisocial personality disorder, the antisocial personality disorder, the original popularized concept of a psychopath as it came to be known, is simply the profile of a criminal, the common criminal. Statistically, the fattest end of the mean of the average criminal who gets locked up and then they re-offend and get locked up again and again. This is how they behave, this is who they are. It really requires that if you want to take revenge on a narcissist, You must be able to see this person who perhaps at the moment you might have gotten comfortable identifying as the other, the big bad other. It's a neurotic response. It's a sick response that we're having there. That's black and white thinking. It's a false dichotomy, good and evil. It's about coming back to reality, coming back to ourselves. And in order to do that, what I found very helpful and what I hope you guys will find helpful as well is to actually get into the mindset of the narcissist and go, oh wow, you fly the planet Narco spaceship and see where their missiles are and their targeting systems, and you're like, wow, so they actually look at people and look for all the buttons they can push on another human being to distress them. The core issue to all of this is morality. The reason why it requires that you go into the other snake's head and look at the world from his or her point of view is so that you actually start to get a balanced perspective of how the world works. So that in the future, when somebody's gaslighting you, you can go, oh, you're gaslighting me, man. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And playing out there in the field of spiritual mumbo jumbo, new age bullshit is only going to make you sicker, and it's only going to make the world sicker and culture sicker and society sicker. Let's deal with that. Let's learn how a narcissist thinks. Now you know where they're coming from. You're not going to choose to do that. That's all they are. Without my gullibility, without your naivety, they have nothing. Without our consent, they have nothing. The most powerful thing you can do is to simply say, I do not consent to this. Every human being on this planet should go through a learning module called How to Be a Bit of a Twat, How to Be a Narcissistic Abuser. And we, on the other side of the spectrum, air quotes, don't see it. We don't see that we're being provoked because everything is fine, everything is fine, everything is fine. This person loves me, this person loves me, they're really cool, they're really cool, they're really special, they're really special. They stubbornly hold to their victimhood. They stubbornly hold to their perceptions of what it means to be abused and what it means to be an abuser. And even though they are asking for help and they're drowning and they reach out the water with their hand, as my hand comes towards them to hold it and pull them out, they slap it. So one part of this process is to let go of how we have been thinking about the world up until now and be ready to accept some change, and to be ready to accept no matter what age you are, you can change, you can grow, you can develop, and it is your fucking responsibility to do so. You don't get to bandwagon hop on other people's suffering just to absolve yourself of the responsibility of being a grown-up. It's old ancient Jewish wisdom. The best revenge is living well. How can you live well if you're reeling and in agony from the tortures of narcissistic abuse? You can't unless you do this first. See the world as they see the world. Truly embrace that. This will never happen to you again. If you can't move on, you've got weepy open wounds that are from codependency, from having your boundaries shattered in an environment that you did absolutely not consent to and that is totally not your fault. It's difficult. I know it's difficult. I've been through it. It's really, really hard, but what choice do we have if we want to move on? So the best revenge is living well. Take on the mindset of a narcissist, learn what it is, let it go, drop it for the cheap, unpalatable, immoral, silly, childish plaything that it is. See it for what it is, grow up, move on. Then you can live well. Then you can live really well.